Hello and welcome back to my channel. But wait, long time I know. Welcome back to my channel. However, and today I'm gonna tell you about how do I plan my trips, the things I keep in mind, my planning, my budgeting, the apps I use, hacks, everything, all that stuff. So let's get into it. I feel a little conscious. This is the first time I'm sitting in a public place and doing all of this. So bear with me. The lighting is nice when I'm up close. When I'm not the best. Okay, let's begin with planning. So whenever I travel solo, I think planning is obviously first very important. That does half of your job already, and you can half of your budgeting would be done once your plan is ready. So you plan first. Planning would include things like where are you going, how many days are you going for, the places you want to visit, and the areas you want to cover, the entertainment stuff you want to do, everything, all that. So on those bases, you would know the places you want to stay in that one country, the areas or different cities, and then you can book your stays accordingly. And these are the things which will happen before you're already in that country, and then your flight tickets, your domestic flight tickets if needed any. So once you know where you're going, in that country, obviously, like the places you want to visit, so and then how many days you're going for, you can divide your days. Like, okay, I recently came from Thailand, so let's take Thailand examples. So Thailand is quite a huge country, and I wanted to explore the south of it, the central of it, and the north of it. So I knew the areas that I want to be in that country or want to visit. I had 15 days in hand, so I had to now divide how many days in each places on the basis of the activities that I want to do and the places I want to visit in the country, like places in the city and stuff. So accordingly you will divide your days, and then on the basis of those days, so you'll decide, okay, first let's say I want to go to Bangkok for a few days. So because my back and forth, my round trip flights were from Bangkok, so I had to be in Bangkok for a couple of days. Then I wanted to go to the south, which is Phuket, because I could do multiple island trips from being in Phuket. I wanted to see the Sunday market in Phuket and just explore stay in Old Town and explore the vibes in general, like have a couple of free days for myself just to do nothing also. And then I wanted to go to the north because I didn't even know that it's going to be a part of my plan but I knew that I have to visit the White Museum, the Blue Temple, and the Black Museum. And these three I didn't know, but these three were in the very north, where I had no plans to go until I got to know, okay, these are in the north. So I had to stay a few days in the north as well. So you will do your flight tickets, you will do your visas, and then you, on the basis of how many days you're staying where, you'll book your stays. So this has to be a major plan. And then while you're in those places, what do you want to do, what are the experiences or activities that you want to do, shoppings, etc. So this is like a whole lot planning. These are the major things you have to have in mind. And then comes the budgeting part. Now on the budgeting aspect, your major expenses are already covered: your flight tickets, your visa expenses if any, and your stays. So your major expenses are already done. Now apart from that, you should always and obviously have some money left for the entertainment stuff that you want to do, the sightseeing, and the places that would need money, like tickets for the island tours, or tickets for the temple tours and stuff, and shopping, just miscellaneous expenses, like if you're just walking around, you like something, money for food, and money for cabs and taxis. Now, so this is like the major chunk of money that you would need overall. And apart from that, Then comes this your safety net money. It's very, 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 very important. Very important, because you're in a different country. You don't know what's going to happen to you. I mean, in case, I hope not, but in case if you're stuck in a situation, you have to have some backup money with you, because especially when you're traveling alone. And I'll give you a funny example that happened with me. So I was, let's take an example. Let's say on 25th of June, I had a flight. I booked a flight, like a domestic flight, to fly from Phuket to Chiang Mai. And so, being an Indian, I was already at the airport like an hour or two before my flight took off. So I'm like nicely checked out from my room, from my villa in Phuket and everything. I'm like leaving. I'm on the way. All luggage packed, everything. I'm ready to go. I am at the airport on the counter, about to take my boarding pass. I like give all my passport and my details, my PNR, and just to realize, then this lady tells me, and then I've booked my flight for the next month's 25, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I have all of these things pre-booked, and I was like, I have to be in Chiang Mai no matter what. I have planned my things. I already have my stays booked in Chiang Mai. I keep saying Chiang Rai. Chiang Rai is the place where they have these temples, and Chiang Mai is where I was staying, because Chiang Rai is like up in the mountains, not very habitable. There's nothing much to do apart from those temples. So I stayed in the city, which was Chiang Mai, and then from there I traveled for a day. Like, it's a few hours journey. Anyways, so I'm like, I have my stays booked and everything. I have to leave today no matter what. So I was like, okay, what can be done? And then also because the domestic flights in Thailand, they do not, they only give you the cabin luggage allowance in the sense that there's only 7 kgs of luggage that you can carry. Anything above 7, you have to pay for it. All domestic flies, only Air Asia flies locally there, and none of them has check-in baggage allowance. So it's all the cabin luggage is only 7 kgs. So every time you book a domestic flight, you have to add some more money and get your extra luggage allowance. So all of those was paid for my flight, which was of next month, or everything, all of that was paid. My flight, everything was done. And I was like, okay, now what can we do about it? I have to go today no matter what. So then I have to pay the difference. But luckily luckily they had the 2 o'clock flight the same day going to Chiang Rai, like the same schedule and everything, the same day as well. So I got lucky there. So I said, okay, what can we do about it? And like, you just have to pay the difference. She said, you just have to pay the difference of today's price and your already booked flight ticket, which was of the next month. And it costed me literally the same amount of another flight, and I already had they got everything back to me in terms of my luggage and everything remained the same. I just had to pay the difference. So, but even though it was not a lot of money, but situations like this, you have to have some backup with you, and it could have been worse, right? And you can literally panic in situations like this. What if there was no tickets available at that night, I mean for the day? Then I had to look for a stay, which was not again in plan. I mean, all my stays are already pre-planned and booked, so I had to spend money on another stay for that day. I had to spend money for another flight for the next day and things like that. So yes, so a safety net of some amount of money is very, very, very important. Now let's talk about the apps that I used. Budgeting done, right? Yes. So now let's talk about the apps that I had, and I would suggest you also have. So when you are deciding which country you have decided which country you're visiting, go through the internet, look for like commonly used apps in that country. For example, apps for apps for cabs and taxis, app for food delivery apps, eSIM, though you have to in the very, very beginning before you take your flight. So there are 2 apps which I would suggest, Klook and Roamless. Roamless is something I've used both. I really like Roamless. Roamless is much more nicer in terms like you can take a package and it will work literally like how the package you've taken. Unlike Klook sometimes work fine, but most of the time I feel if I've taken 1 GB per day's package, I feel like it data goes away very faster than it's supposed to, even though I'm not using it so much. So that is one thing about Klook. So I would recommend Roamless. Very nice. Yes, for cabs and food deliveries, takeaways, all these, you just look for the country you're visiting and the locally used common apps. Like for example, in Asian countries, Northeast Asian countries like Indonesia and Thailand, they both the places had these 3 apps in common, that which Gojek, Grab and Bolt. Grab and Bolt was the one common ones. Gojek was only used in Indonesia if I'm not wrong. So these are the apps where you can take your taxis, cabs or bikes rental and all that stuff from. Also Grab also gets you food delivery. So these are the apps you should have in advance. You should have your eSIM plan already in advance, and you should carry some cash with you. Like the moment you're in that another country, you should have their local currency as cash for your initial few transactions, because your major billing and your major expenses are already covered. You have pre-booked your stays, your flight tickets are done and everything, and so you would need like money to go from the airport to your hotel for the first time, or to shop, or to go around to eat and everything for a couple of. So at least do not carry a lot of cash, but have cash enough for a initial few days, and then you can obviously use an ATM to remove some more cash for another few days. Let's say if I was staying for 15 days, I made sure I do not use the ATM for more than 4 times, because even an international transaction will cost some transactional additional amount, which could be very high. So avoid that. You can anyways use Apple Pay again, but there are transactional costs, international transaction costs, so keep that in mind. However, there is one app called Revolut, which people use it. It may not work for a lot of people. It did not work for me, but it does work for a lot of people. I don't know on what basis they allow you, what are their criteria. I'm still not very sure. I hope I get into it. So because it's very convenient if you're like a travel person, if you keep traveling another country a lot. Because so what that app actually does is, you from your main major bank account, you put some amount in your Revolut wallet, and that you can use as Apple Pay. You can tap around the world wherever, and the only time it will take a transaction cost from you is when you will add that certain amount from your wallet, your bank account, to the Revolut wallet. And then after that, no matter how many times you tap in another whatever country, it will not cost you anything. So that is one app, but I have never used it, but I know a few of my friends use it, and this is how it works. But did not work for me. If it works for you, amazing, just go for it. And apart from that, the cash hack, that is what I use. And what else? I think that is majorly it. This will make your trip very easy, because you have everything in plan in advance, because you'll have your bookings ready in advance. It's easier for you to get the visa and everything also. So you'll have your major expenses are done, so you'll have at least an idea what your budget is gonna look like, how's it gonna go. I use booking.com a lot, booking.com a lot always. You can also use Make My Trip, but I personally prefer and use booking.com for my stays. Like I know, okay, I chose this area because it looked nice. I did all my research, R&D and everything. I chose this place, so in that area I will look for accommodations, and whatever looks nice, I get that. I'll go on the reviews and everything, like blah basic stuff. So that's fine. Also, yes, so for the very first time, if you're going to a new country, I would recommend that you book your airport pickup from the same very first hotel or hostel or wherever you're staying in. In booking.com, you get that option for an airport pickup, so you can book that in advance. So the moment you land, you don't have to worry about anything. There's already be someone waiting for you to pick you up, to take you to the destination. I prefer to do that for the very first time, is because in a new country, very first time, is because it's safer. um, there may be chances that someone's try to take more money from you, because you don't know how the new country or new place works. So there'll be people who are ready to take off, like rip you off and stuff like that, take you to a longer route, whatever. But it's more trust, so that this way it's more trustworthy, and you know exactly how much amount you're spending, which you have already prepaid it for. And did I say booking.com gives you that option? Yes, it does. I did, I think. What else am I missing? That's that being said. Oh yes, one more thing. So what I do is, when I know which country I want to visit, I've made up my mind and everything, and a few places. So I do my own R&D first. I will research everything about that country, the most visited place, must visit and must do things of that country and the place. And I make my own itinerary for the amount of days I'm staying there, right? According to my understanding of that country on the basis of the internet. So once I'm done with that, I run my itinerary through my friends who are local to that country, like my Indonesian friends when I went to Indonesia, or my Thai friend when I went to Thailand. Or in case if you don't have anybody who is a local of that country, you can also consider asking this to your friends or people who have been to those places. You can just run it through them. Maybe there's something you have missed out, or they can suggest, and if that catches your interest, you have time in advance to, like, fix the things, like your time, manage it on the basis of the times and everything. Like for example, when I went to Bali, my friend Vivit, shout out, thank you so much, Vivit and her friends, actually, I had no idea about this very beautiful waterfall in North Bali in Lovina. Lovina was not even in my plan, right? So I had a very, 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 very beautiful, I had an experience of this waterfall. I jumped through this waterfall, whatever, in Lovina. It was so beautiful, and it's not a place which has been explored by a lot of tourists, and it's very a well kept secret. So it was not very crowded, because it's a small pond and waterfall situation. And then she took me there, and she suggested me that. I was so happy that happened, because otherwise I don't think so I would have been able to explore or go to that place, because it's not like hyped or there on the internet that much. So yes, that is one thing. And I think I covered everything. I'm out of breath. Yes, I think I did cover everything. So yeah, how to do your budget, how to plan the trip, things to play, blah 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 blah. Done. I think you're good to go. Just try this style of planning a trip and see if it works out for you. It has worked out for me for two times already, and all the best. And if not yet, this is your sign to travel solo. I think we're done for now. Yes, I made notes. And yes, that would be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys hopefully soon. I'm concentrating more on making my shorts, but I thought I really needed to make this one video, so here it is. Bye.